I post. So usually I write something for January 6th, but this year I'll make a video. What I want to do is just read how I felt as someone who had supported the guy who did all of this. This is actually like the first when it happened, just the day that it happened. I was rereading like how I felt then, and I was still coming out of it, like coming out of this idea of him. And at the time, I was like, why did he do this to us? Like, I had a very close friend who called me after the election and after Trump refused to concede and started saying that he won. My friend called me and he said, James, what are we going to do? They stole the election. And he was scared out of his freaking mind. And I was like, why the hell did you do this to us? Why the hell did you do this? Now my close friend is losing his mind because of something that you're telling. Like it was enough not to wear a mask and just sending us out to to die. But then you actually just send us to die again, but to fight for an election that you lost. You could just be a big, just be a grown up and just accept the loss. Um, I, it frustrated me. It's crazy, but this is actually 1 year out. It's heavy on days like today to look back and see the legacy of who I supported before June 2020 solely for my views on economics and political realism. 7 years ago, I didn't know that supporting a person for certain things could mean encouraging the worst, or that the areas I supported would become a blip in an inundation of the tactical disinformation, abuse, and manipulation I blinked at. I was late. I never thought it possible that people could believe the implausible and push further into into destructive and self-destructive behavior. I wasn't watching the pain people felt until June 2020, and I apologize that I ignored the experiences of people who were hurting, even trivializing reasonable concerns by not addressing them. That it's those things that are being capitalized on, that politicians are still building on, has shocked me out of politics the past year and a half. I didn't pay enough attention before June 2020, and that was actually that was during you have the pandemic lockdowns, you've got the resistance against the lockdowns, and you've got lots of people dying. At the same time, you have the George Floyd protests, and you've got Trump with a Bible, uh, and trying and using the military. So um, I understand now it was happening the whole time. Uh, Out of reflection of these horrors, and my initial place of avoiding them, regardless of beliefs on any other topic, I can't go back to tacit consent of any politician or political group in preference of interests personal to me and my environment. Perhaps that's the start for putting more heart into my political judgments. That was personal for me. When I started this whole, like, when I started even my interest in conservative politics, it was really just I saw the place where I grew up, and I was trying to connect with these people, with all these people here, and I thought that we could just have this open dialogue. And I thought that, even though I came from a family that was that was more liberal. Um, I thought that we all could just have this conversation together. We could all just talk, and that conversation was beautiful. I mean, I loved going through like when I first learned learning American history, and I was fascinated by the forming of the Constitution and the Federalists. Uh, and then you've got James Madison and the Federalist Papers, and he talks about things like factions, and how political parties uh, having all of this ends up making everything work uh, better overall. That not just one party or one view gets all the power. And I just thought that that kind of dialectic, that kind of thing, was just so amazing. And now it just evaporated in violence, in death, in blood. I'm still shocked about it. But I think that as we go along, it should never be forgotten that each time I see those videos, it was not the day of love. It was the day that my heart sank, and that all of the excuses, everything that I had put out in support of this guy, this man, that's when it all fell apart. He was sending everyone to die. He will risk anyone's life. That's not something that can be tolerated.